Hello and welcome to Alyena's Kitchen, where today we're going to be making homemade falafels. These falafels are so delicious and we're actually going to be changing it up a little bit today because we're going to try baking them as well as frying them to see which one's better. So let's get started. Alright, so the first thing we're going to start with is making our kale falafel. If you're not a huge fan of kale, feel free to not add this in. But I personally love it and I feel like it adds that little extra boost to my falafel. So to start with, I have chopped 2.5 cups of fresh kale and I'm just going to add it to my food processor while I make a mess all around it. To that, I'm also going to add about half of a medium-sized white onion, and I'm going to actually just process up all my vegetables first, just so everything gets fully combined and there's no big chunks of kale left over. So then I have 3 tablespoons of cilantro that I've chopped, as well as 3 tablespoons of parsley. And then last thing I'm going to add in here is my garlic. I've pressed about 4 cloves of garlic today, and these were pretty big cloves because I love garlic, but if you're not a huge fan, you can always add less. Alright, and so I'm just going to blend this together so that everything is combined. Okay, so once all your greens are finally blended up, we can add in our chickpeas. So today I have 3 cups of chickpeas and I'm just using canned chickpeas. So what I did is I drained out all the water and then I also rinsed them before I'm adding them in. And then to this, I'm also going to start adding my tahini. So today I just have 2 tablespoons of tahini and 1 tablespoon of freshly squeezed lemon juice. And then I have some spices. So I have a 4th teaspoon of some dried oregano, half a teaspoon of paprika, give that spice a little kick. And then I also have 1 teaspoon of coriander and 2 teaspoons of cumin. That was a mouthful. And then the last thing I'm going to want to add, well, second to last thing, is my oat flour. If you're not gluten-free, you can just use normal flour. And you're going to want to use anywhere from 2 to 4 tablespoons. This will help give it that texture to stick together. So one thing I noticed when I was making my falafels, it didn't really apply to the ones that were oven baked, but for the ones that were deep fried, I noticed they did not have enough flour in the mixture because they all fell apart. So I ended up having to put it all back together, add about a few more tablespoons of flour to it, and then they came together beautifully and fried wonderfully. I did just realize, so if you're watching this video from the beginning, add a bit more flour if you're deep frying them. And then the last thing I'm going to add is about half a teaspoon of salt and about a 4th teaspoon of pepper. Alright, and here we have it. And I'm just going to quickly pulse this together. You don't want it to be too smooth. You still want to have that texture of the chickpeas, so you don't really want to over blend this mixture. That's delicious. I feel like the flavors are just perfect. So what I'm going to do is just put this in another bowl, and I'm actually going to leave it in the fridge for about an hour. It does help the flavors come together even more, and it's also a lot easier for when you're shaping them, especially when you're going to be frying them. Okay, so now I have rolled out all of my falafels to be fried as well as to be baked. And for the ones that are going to be baked, I have set my oven to 350 degrees and I'm going to bake them for about 20 to 25 minutes. And about 15 minutes in, I am going to want to flip them and make sure they have that nice golden brown on the bottom. All right, I'm going to pop these in the oven. Okay, so we're now at the point where we're going to be frying our falafels. And the one thing with frying them is the temperature is quite important. You want it to be anywhere from 330 degrees to 350 because you want to make sure that they're getting cooked all the way through, not just on the outsides. And when I am going to be cooking my falafels, they usually will take about 5 minutes. Okay, so now that our falafel is beautiful and done, it's time to check which one is better, the oven baked or the deep fried. I think I know. But here we go. They look a little bit different, that's for sure. Let's try them out. Very good. Now, I do have to check. Ooh, that looks really good. That's quite delicious. Alright, so they're both very good, I will say. There is something special about the deep fried ones though, but I would say if you're trying to be a bit healthier, having oven baked is a very good option, but traditional falafel is deep fried, I have to say, and it does make a difference. I hope you guys try and enjoy. Thanks so much for watching.